I design shoes and dresses. What I'm doing now is a lot of contract agreement works, fixing the property. That's the kind of law that I'm practicing now. Being a business owner, I think 24/7 your mind has to work. And also a host for INC TV. The doctor explained as well that there's only a 1% chance of surviving the surgery. I said, you know, if it's my time, it's my time. Everything is borrowed time. This is my borrowed life. So if this is where God wants me to have my life until dito lang, then it's okay, I'm fine.
Tubong Cebu City, Cebu, si Neeresh Bhagwandas. Sa murang edad ay nakita na niya kung paano nagninegosyo ang kanyang mga magulang.
As far as I can remember, my parents were into business. The business was usually in the house, so I see them do business. I learn from watching them, the experience of seeing them deal with the customers, with the clients. We can see them conduct business. So I guess it came very naturally to transition into business.
Maliit pa lamang si Neeresh at nagsisimula palang mangarap, ay humarap na kaagad siya sa isang malaking problema na halos magbibigay ng tuldok sa kanyang mga inaasam.
When I was, I think 8 or 9 years old, we were walking in the mall, and then my mom said, "Can you stand straight?" Kasi nasa likod siya. And I was like, "Mom!" Nakaganon ako. "This is straight." Nakaganon na. So she's like, "Okay, we have to go to the doctor." Severe scoliosis, which is a disease in the spine that makes it curve. It's rare. And the severity is what makes it even more rare because not a lot of people will have it as severe as mine. So mine is an S. So they will measure that. Each curve. Well, mine was around 60 degrees curve. Like I had to have a brace for 1 year. The doctor told me I had to wear a brace to see if they could correct it. After 1 year, the doctor said that the brace didn't really help. And my spine was pushing my lungs because it was growing so rapidly. The curve was growing so rapidly, it would end up pushing my lungs and crushing my lungs until I couldn't breathe. So that's why they decided to do the surgery.
Sa kabila ng panganib, ay pinili ng pamilya ni Neeresh na sumailalim siya sa operasyon.
Going to the doctor, the weekly, the monthly checkups, you really don't know. I didn't know anything, what was going on, what the procedure was. But I knew the life and death part of it because the doctor said that the surgery, because it was severe surgery, so open back surgery, anything can happen with the spine. One wrong touch and you probably could not walk, or you probably could die. So that was explained to us. The first surgery was here in Cebu. I was around, I think, 10 years old. I think the first surgery was very painful because it was my first time going through it. They had to put in the metal rod inside. So anything foreign in your body, you would feel like it's not normal. And I had to learn how to walk all over again.
Inakala nila na ito na ang una at huling operasyon na kailangan niyang pagdaanan. Subalit, hindi ganun ang nangyari.
So you always have to have checkups, x-rays. And they found out in the next x-ray that some of the screw were already misplaced. That time, I hit puberty, so I grew. The rod that was placed in was already half of it. So they had to go back and add more.
Matapos ang pangalawang operasyon, ay namuhay ng normal si Neeresh hanggang sa tahaki niya ang karera na kanyang pangarap.
As far as grade 3, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer as well. So, you know, one of those, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, lawyer. A few years passed. I felt pain in my back when I was around 17, when I was about to go and enter college. So I felt a pain in my back, and I told my parents, I think it became very unbearable. Even with medicine, it doesn't go away anymore. So we decided to have a checkup in India, which is actually very much known for its medical industry. And we have some relatives there that was able to get us an appointment with the best doctor, the best orthopedic. So we had our initial checkup x-ray. He said that if I wanted to, if it was really bothering me, the pain, he could do a surgery. But I had to wait another year because he's a fully booked doctor. I waited. I said, okay, I'll go back exactly next year. We went back the next year. And then he said, oh, you have to wait for around 2 more months because I'm very busy. My mom was saying, you know, we don't have to go through this. Like, you can just take all the medications for your pains. You can go on live your life without going through the 3rd surgery. But I said, you know, I'm already here and I've already decided. And then, you know, because the doctor explained as well that there's only really 1% chance of surviving the surgery. I said, you know, if it's my time, it's my time. Everything is borrowed time. This is my borrowed life. So if this is where God wants me to have my life until dito lang, then it's okay, I'm fine. What they had to do was go inside again, open my whole back, and then take out all of the metal screws, the rods that were placed in from the 2nd surgery. The doctor said that it was one of the hardest things they did because they didn't do the previous surgery. So they didn't know what they were going into. They could only see the x-ray, but when they opened it, it was a different case. Everything already fused inside. So they had to be very careful. It took them 24 hours, no eating, no bathroom breaks. And I think that was, for me, the hardest and the most painful of all the surgery, because right after that, it's mandatory in India to have you in the ICU with a ventilator in your mouth, with all of the tubes and wires connected to your whole body. So I think for 2 weeks I was in the ICU. I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, just had a lot of pain medications. I was on morphine for 1 whole month, and they gave me my own button to control my dosage. So every time I would feel the pain because I could not talk, there was a ventilator in my mouth, I will just push it to supply me with the medication. That's how painful it was. And when I was in the ICU, it was worse because you could hear everybody being rushed, like having an emergency or people dying around you. Those are just right beside you, being separated by curtains. So I think really the mental aspect of it was really hard. In my head, I said, oh, wow, I don't think I could ever do one more. After the 3rd, I said, I don't think I could ever do one more. It was so painful. I know that I couldn't say that to my mom and my sisters because I know them and they'll say, okay, stop everything, let's go home to the Philippines. So I said, sayang naman, we're already here.
Pero sadyang napapagod ang isipan at dumarating ang pagkakataon na hindi na alam ni Neeresh kung ano ang dapat niyang maramdaman.
There was a point where I was so tired, exhausted, and I just kept crying that whole night. And then my parents, my mom and my sister were asking me, why are you crying? But the only thing I said was, I think God made me feel that was, this is happening for a reason. You might not know why, but it's happening for a reason. You don't go through this just to feel the pain and all of that, but for God to prepare you for something else.
Pinanghawakan ni Neeresh ang 1% na pag-asa na ipinangako sa kanya ng mga doktor upang maging maayos ang ika-4 na operasyon. Ang nalalabing 99% ay itiniwala niya sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
But I think, with the panata, with the praying every day, I had my devotional prayer just for the surgery day. God somehow took away the fear that was supposed to be there, and it was replaced with the good that will come out of it. It was around 18 hours na lang, the 4th surgery, wherein they had to put back in a new rod and put in a few bones that wasn't mine to support the rod. Took out some of my bones as well just to support it. The procedure went successfully well. And I think the first thing I asked my doctor was, when can I go home? And then he said, the moment you can walk, then you can go home. So that became my motivation. I think after 2-3 days, I was able to walk right away after the 4th surgery.
Naging matagumpay ang ika-4 na operasyon. Subalit ikinalungkot naman ni Neeresh ang payo sa kanya ng mga manggagamot.
So after my 3rd and 4th surgery in India, the doctor advised me not to sing or do anything strenuous with my including my lungs and my physical health. But that was one of the first things that I remembered. I was very concerned about, because as much as possible, I wanted to go back to my duty right away. But it was really hard. It was a struggle because I couldn't even sing. It was hard. I had a hard time talking.
Napakahalaga para kay Neeresh ang pagiging may tungkulin sa loob ng Iglesia ni Cristo.
I was a choir member ever since. As far as I can remember, I think around grade 2, probably 8 or 9 years old. And when I graduated high school, I took my college in Manila. So I transferred to the local of Bel Air in Metro Manila. And until there po, I still became a choir member. My heart sank, the feeling of like not being able to breathe, because that's how I breathe. That's like air for me. My tupad, my tungkulin. So not being able to breathe would mean like I don't have a lifeline, as a comparison.
Bata pa lamang ay minahal na ni Neeresh ang kanyang tungkulin sa loob ng Iglesia ni Cristo bilang choir member o mang-awit.
God made me realize that, what's the most important thing for you, because everything else didn't matter. What was the one thing that I really wanted to was to sing again, to serve God again. I had a hard time talking after the surgery. With God's help, with a lot of prayers, I was able to sing right away after 4 months.
Nagawa na rin ni Neeresh na ipagpatuloy ang kanyang pangarap na maging abogado.
Law school first year was hard because it's part of the adjustment period. first ever bagsak. But that's normal. That's normal in law school, and you shouldn't give up. But yes, of course, you cry. You cry a lot. You pray, and then the next day, laban ulit. I graduated in 2021, and then 6 months, supposed to be 6 months after, take the bar right away.
Upang maging ganap na abogado, kailangan niyang ipasa ang bar exam. Dito muling sinubok ang katatagan ni kapatid na Neeresh.
That was the first bar ever during or after the pandemic. So it kept getting moved and moved and moved until it became February 2022. Mentally and physically, my surgeries were hard, but I think during the bar review season, it probably would be on the same level. Because that was the time also that there was a typhoon here in Cebu, Typhoon Odette. No electricity, no water for 1 whole month. All the review, if you're in law review, everything is online. So I didn't have access to that. A typical law student would go into review and have everything mentally, emotionally, physically fit. Because the bar exam is not just your mental, but it's also there's a physical aspect to it. So all of that preparation that I had months prior, during the bagyo, it felt like it was washed away. Draining to the fact that I developed an anxiety attack. I said I will stay with my sister in Manila. I rested. I started again doing the online review because everything is pre-taped, so you just have to watch it. So as much as you can, you just have to watch it and relearn everything, review. But really, I don't think it made that much of a difference. I think if you could say, like, the only puhunan I had was I did more of my church duties than the actual review. You know, even my mom said, if you pass or not, it's okay. So the official list comes out in the website of the Supreme Court. That will feature all of the names of all the bar passers. So you will have to look for your name one by one. So A, B, 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 and then you see, okay, Bhagwandas. What? Is that my name? I had to check the first name, the middle name, and then exit the app. Did that really happen? Did I pass? Okay, log in again. Wow, it's really my name. I have to print this. Unexpectedly and amazingly, I passed. But really, like, we did not expect it. Oh, wow. It was a lot of tears, a lot of crying, and a lot of laughing, and just shock. Shock lang talaga. What I'm doing now is a lot of contract agreement works, fixing the property. That's the kind of law that I'm practicing now. I think the one thing that I learned during the bar review process is there are things that I want, like how everything will be, like imagine yourself 5 years from now and all of that. But there are things that what God wants for you. I want what He wants for me.
Nagbukas na rin ng iba pang pintuan ng oportunidad para kay kapatid na Neeresh. Naging anchor siya sa INC TV at iba pang programa.
I was able to pray for it when somebody approached me if I could do a screening. But the only thing I replied was, if loobin ng Diyos. So if God wills it, then it's for me. So I've had my prayer, I think, for 2 years since then. After 2 years, we did another screening. We did a screening, and I was approved. So yeah, it's being able to share your voice and what God gave you, the talents, the blessings, in a bigger, wider platform. It was more than what I actually asked for and what I prayed for. I think the most memorable experience was the one in Camotes. worldwide lingap. It was very, very challenging, but very fulfilling. Getting to know the stories of everyone and understanding their situation. And, my life, I grew up very differently from the people that we have interviewed. So getting to know that side and the church being able to somehow help them. That really, we were interviewing them and I was trying my best not to cry and just keep my composure. So that was very memorable.
Nagawa na rin ni kapatid na Neeresh na simula ng negosyo na matagal na nilang pangarap.
My sisters and I would buy shoes, a lot of shoes. And so one day, she was online shopping. Just normal, regular wedge boots that's black. I said, Ate, you already have that. You have the same kind of shoe in like 4 different styles, but the same. And then she said, no, but it's different. I like this. So we're really into shoes. And then I said, why won't we make our own? And then she said, why won't we? So it was that easy, it was that simple because we were very interested with it. It was our passion. So from then, she said, okay, why won't we make our own? I had already like a file, an album of shoes that I wanted to execute, the inspiration that I wanted. Sometimes you don't want to have that moment of not doing anything, especially a life-changing moment in your life happened. You don't want to waste a moment. I had that feeling. Every day counts. I had like a new chance to live, a new reason to live, so I don't want to waste it.
Export quality ang kanilang mga produkto. Ang mga sapatos na gawa nila ay makikitang suot ng mga local at international celebrities. Ilang beses na rin silang na-feature sa mga fashion magazine at na-interview sa telebisyon.
We started with shoes, which was very fun, and we attended a lot of fashion shows. We had a lot of photo shoots and a lot of interviews, and then it escalated to making dresses as well. So these are custom-made dresses that are fit to your size, and we have our own fabrics and designs that are very unique. So we have our shoes, which I call my babies. Each shoe is designed by me and my sisters. So each design, the fabric, the design, the heel height, it's a collaboration of me and my sisters, the 3 of us. And after 1 year, we were able to have our own factory. I love the fact that we can sketch something out of our minds. The creativity comes out, and then after a few days, we can actually see it in person. We're holding it, we're wearing it, we're taking pictures with it. And most of all, I love the part where our clients, our customers are able to enjoy them and love them and wear it their own way.
Sa kabila ng maraming pinagkakaabalahan, ay malinaw kay kapatid na Neeresh kung ano ang kanyang prioridad.
It all boils down to your priorities, and for me, that's my number 1 priority. So everything else will be secondary. So all my practice, my pagtupad, that will always be first, and everything else will be scheduled around it. It was hard. Balance is always hard. And running from one place to another, from Quezon City to Alabang, back to Bel Air, a lot of time was spent on the car, in the road. Sometimes kulang sa tulog, sometimes hindi na din nakakain, but it was all worth it. I treasure my tungkulin, my being in the choir. I think that's during my when I fulfill my duties, it's where God is really closest to me. I can feel Him, I guess, talking to me, and I can feel His presence and His care and His embrace.
Kinikilala ni kapatid na Neeresh ang naging bahagi ng pamamahala ng Iglesia ni Cristo upang magtagumpay sa lahat ng pagsubok.
The role of a church administration played a really big part in my life. Knowing what they do for everybody in the church and the youth especially. Life is very hard outside, and we're supposed to, stand out, be light. And I think it gets harder every day. But the church administration really reminds us every time how to be a good Christian. I think every preaching is memorable. I have a notebook that I write down all the lessons, all the verses. And until now, I look back, reread them, the verse, and relearn everything, because it's always somehow like, what's the lesson or the preaching for today, and then it's actually very relatable in the everyday, in the weeks to come, in the months to come, and you look back and say, wow, this is what's the preaching of Eduardo Manalo. This is what he was saying. And really, every preaching is so memorable. Every lesson I keep in my heart and my mind.
Pagkatapos ng lahat ng mga pinagdaanan ni kapatid na Neeresh, ay walang naiwang bakas ng mapapait na karanasan, kundi ang mga natutuhan niya na lalong nagpatatag ng kanyang pananampalataya.
So aside from, being able to go back home to the Philippines and being able to do my tupad again, my tungkulin, I think also I was excited to do more, because I felt that there's a reason and purpose even more now. I think serving Him in like all aspects of my life. Maybe I don't know yet what's gonna happen, what's to come, what He plans for me yet, because I feel like every part of my life is a stepping stone in preparation for the next. At the end of the day, it's giving it to Him and leaving it all there, all your worries, all your anxieties, all of the things that bother you, leaving it there to Him and letting Him take care of it for you. Everything comes from God. Every blessing, all the business, all of the even passing the bar, even being able to serve an INC TV, that's all from God. So yes, you only live once, so do it with purpose. A lot of thank you for the life, thank you for the strength, because going through 4 surgeries, you look at life differently. You feel like you're given this whole new chance of life again. So every day that you wake up, every day that you can go to church or go to work, it feels like a really big blessing. It's not a routine for me. That's why every day has to count. Every day matters. God's my best friend. So if anything, if this is where I end my life, then maybe this is really where just God wants me to be. But then I lived. God wants me to do more. I don't take life for granted. I don't take any opportunities, any blessings for granted. Everything has a meaning. I guess one of the things is being able to really read into our lives and see the connections, looking back, like, okay, this is why it happened. This is why this is going to happen next. And a lot of just trusting and giving it all to God. Whatever happens, I leave it to you. It's up to you.